I have to give a shout out to Kimberly Frazier because she was the first person I saw actually do a video on this topic. And it was something that myself and others who decide to tackle this subject were talking about early on when this whole Zaya Wade, however you want to call this kid, when all of this started to pop off. And I had said early on when I started doing commentaries about this that it would lead to this, where the kid would feel like they were forced out of, how can I put it? They were forced to put into a very, I guess you could say, awkward position. But once they were forced out there, they would just have to deal with it. And I said, as a kid, that's not something they should have had to deal with. And that all goes back to the parents. Now, y'all see this picture right here. This is Dwayne Wade, his child, and the high priestess witch. As y'all know, I have been referring to Gabrielle Union as such since all of this stuff went down. And if you look at this picture right here, it pretty much shows it right here. This is actually a picture from his child. I'm just going to say his child. 13th birthday party, where the theme was medieval times. And you can see how they're dressed. They have the tiara on, some purple hair, and like one of those old like materials that the women used to wear back in the day, and some I guess those are some floral looking pants and some heels. And you see what Gabby, the high priestess witch, has on. And you also see Dwayne Wade is up there looking like this generation's version of Dennis Rodman. And it looks like he has something on his hair. It looks like some flowers or something like that. Dwayne Wade looks like he's so uncomfortable, but he's just going along with it to not appear to be this and that phobic, because he already knows the backlash he'll receive. So it's like he's just playing ball for right now. But this article in which I'm about to read to you is going to basically discuss how Gabrielle Union, the high priestess witch, said that, and this is how it's titled: Gabrielle Union recalls stepdaughter Zaya Wade feeling quote unquote outed on social media. So they have been going around, and that means in that household have been referring to this kid as she, her. The high priestess, which has been referring to this kid as their stepdaughter, and Dwayne Wade, I would not be surprised, has been referring to them as his daughter, which means that the other kids in the house have probably been forced to refer to this kid as their sister. I'm telling you, it's some strange times we are living in, but I'm gonna go ahead and get into it and see what they're talking about. The 13-year-old who is listen, I'm going to just read the article as it is. You know, usually I just fill it in with what should be there, but I'm not going to do that right now because y'all need to understand the deep psychosis and how deep this thing really goes. The 13-year-old who is the daughter of Gabrielle's husband, Dwayne Wade, came out publicly as trans earlier this year. However, coming out was more of a process than a single moment. Zaya's piece is non-negotiable, Gabrielle explained to Taraji and co-host Tracy J. Jenkins on Peace of Mind with Taraji. As Zaya gathered more language, she was able to tell us about her identity. She was able to tell us about her sexuality. She was able to tell us, I'm trans. She says, I've come out a few times. I came out to my teacher in 3rd grade. And then when you guys posted that picture of me in Chicago at my birthday party. And I think that's right there is what stemmed from, or made, or is what's suggesting where this story is coming from, was that picture. So that's where the high priestess witch is saying he felt outed, was with that picture at his party. The photo in question showed Gabrielle and Zaya posing with a birthday cake in June 2020. The LA's finest actress said that certain black blogs picked apart the photo and tried to figure out Zaya's gender identity. Zaya told Gabrielle the experience made her feel quote unquote outed. While Dwayne and Gabrielle are supportive of Zaya, the Bring It On star admitted they still have a lot to learn. She asked for a demisexual flag for her birthday, and Dwayne's like to me, do you know what that is? Gabrielle joked of the couple having to look the word up. But I actually did look it up because I was like, what in the world is a demisexual? I said that's brand new to me. But apparently when I looked it up on Google, demisexual is someone it says that they have a sexual connection to people who on an emotional level. That's basically what it was referring to. Something along those lines. Like if you go and type it into Google, it says something along. It was a little bit lengthier than that, but in simple terms, that's what it meant. It was Zaya who taught the parents about the difference between gender identity, sexual expression, and gender expression. We only know what we know, the 48-year-old told the host. You have to be open to embrace what we don't know. The Breaking In star also shared her experience with post-traumatic stress disorder, which she was diagnosed with after she was raped while working at a Payless shoe store at 19 years old. She recalled first opening up about the assault when an interviewer asked her about kissing her Bad Boys co-star. I was like, I was raped, the star said of the interview. Like, you want to get a different line of questioning? Because we could actually talk about something that could save someone's life or create a community, or we could talk about some guys I was paid to kiss. So there you have it, right there. They said that he felt like he was outed by that picture. And I and several others were saying this seems a very forced on to us as a society, in that we are forced to adapt to that. Sort of like what happened with Elliot or Ellen Page, formerly Ellen Page. When they decided to come out and said that they no longer identify as Ellen Page and to call them Elliot, it's almost like society in the blink of an eye was forced to identify this person as they wanted to be called. Look at the video I just recently did, that ridiculous video about that person who raped their daughter and then went to jail and now is identifying as a woman and now got moved into a women's prison. And then we have to foot the bill, or the taxpayers have to foot the bill to pay for their gender reassignment surgery while they await for that time in a women's prison. God knows what they're going to do. What I'm saying is that particular sector right there, they get a lot of leeway, a lot of passes. But the fact of the matter is, what makes this situation so different is the fact that there's a child involved. This isn't a grown man. This isn't a person who's old enough to make these decisions, but they allowed them to do that because it's attention seeking, number one. That's definitely a major part. It's definitely attention seeking. And number two, they want to seem like they're so progressive. I think that's another thing as well. But I'm going to piggyback on some of the comments that I saw in Kimberly Fraser's comment section on this topic. All in all, what it boils down to, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade collectively, but especially her, are pimping out this kid. That's all it boils down to. They are pimping out this child. I don't know if they're trying to look for some kind of a TV deal or what have you. But they're pimping out this boy for some kind of a gain, a financial gain. Because notice they don't ever talk about the other kids. Because D Wade has two other older sons who are older than this one. And then, of course, you know, the child that he has with Gabrielle Union, who was the baby. They rarely ever talk about the other two sons. They keep it focused on him. And it seems like D Wade and Gabby could care less about the other two sons. Like, that's just the vibe I get. I couldn't even tell you the other two sons' names with the way that they parade this child around. And in my opinion, it's in a very unhealthy way. In my opinion. Like, I still can't get over that picture. They took that. It was a family picture that they took where they were standing on a staircase, and it was D Wade, Gabrielle Union, the baby, and their child. And he had on fake nails. and a little crop top at the time when he was 12. At 12. See, it wouldn't be such of an issue if he was 18. 18, he can make his own decisions and do what he wants. But this is a child. And see, people will get upset with you if you even point that out and saying, how dare you, try to tell them how to live. This isn't me telling them how to live. It's called letting a kid be a kid. And y'all actually honestly think that he made these conscious decisions on his own. And that's another thing. A lot of parents these days let their children make way too many grown adult decisions. That's the same thing with Will and Jada's kids. They allowed them to grow up so fast. And then you got Willow Smith making that ridiculous comment on behalf of her and her brother Jaden, talking about how they weren't accepted by the black community. Well, y'all did a lot of stuff to make them not want to accept you like that. But they tried to shift the blame and fall into victim mode. I will not be surprised if their child, and I'm talking about D Wade and Gabrielle Union, even though that's not her biological child, but we're going to just say that because she's there. I won't be surprised if he starts saying certain things, because look at how Gabrielle phrased it. She said certain black blogs. She didn't say certain blogs. She said certain black blogs. So she already has honed in on a target to go after when they even said the slightest thing, and it probably wasn't even the most negative, even the slightest thing about her stepchild. So if she says that in this interview that she did with Taraji, what is she telling this boy at home? That she probably saying these black blogs or these black commentators, they're going to say some of the most ridiculous things about you because of this, that, and the third. And then what will that do is implant a seed in his head to dislike black people. Or say that or the famous line, black people are the most fill in the blank phobic. That's the one. That is the one. I'm telling you right now. I wonder what kind of conversations they have behind closed doors to be a fly on the wall in that house. But that's really all I have to say on this topic right here. There's probably so much more that I could, but I don't want to start rambling. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you have your notifications on, have your bell clicked, and I will talk to you in the next one.